A former vice president of Nigeria and the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, has sued for peace, unity, and cohesion within the ranks of the party in the aftermath of last week's special national convention, which confirmed his candidacy. According to him, only oneness of purpose can guarantee success for the party during next year's general election. Joining us now to review the party's presidential primaries and address the clamor for a redistribution of positions in the party after Atiku's emergence is PDP National Publicity Secretary Debo Olgunagba. Thank you so much for joining us on the program this afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, let's get right into it. I want to gauge your response on the feedback from most of Nigerians concerning the recently concluded PDP primaries. Even though it was considered relatively free and fair, it's being reported as such, we do hear widespread reports of vote buying, especially amongst the delegates. I want to quote from the Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Kingsley Moghalu. He said apparently $350,000 or $35,000 allegedly was shared amongst the delegates, and he says it is, of course, a bad omen for the country. I just want to get your response as to how such could be avoided in the future, and on the feedback that you've been getting from the rest of the Nigerians.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon once again for having me. You referenced a comment by the former Deputy Governor of Central Bank about some allegation about $35,000 on the average being shared. Well, for me, I don't know. I wasn't a delegate, so I couldn't comment on that. However, when comments such as these are made, there are speculations and there are unfounded, unsubstantiated accusations, particularly come from people who are not probably participants in the process. But having said that, the issue of money in politics has always been with us for a long time. And I know there have been a lot of effort to discourage massive and excessive deployment of money at elections. And I think it's one area that as a country and for our democracy that needs to be attended to. And I do know there are areas that have been taking care in terms of the policies of government, in terms of making regulations. But as a party, we are very conscious of that. And that's why when this NWC came in, we gave to Nigeria and we promised our party members that in all our contests and processes, there will be free, fair, transparent, and credible processes. And that is exactly what we deployed at the National Convention. You saw it, the whole world saw it, and we must begin to appreciate even the Arise network. You were there to carry it live, and every aspect of that process was clear, was transparent, was shown to the whole world, and I did not witness any area of purchase of votes at the convention, and I was aware that even EFCC was deployed. I reckon that if such had happened, of course EFCC would be up and doing to do his job. But having said that, the issue of money politics, of course, is a concern to every Nigerian, to every party, and I think it's an issue that we must discuss, and it's a legitimate conversation that we should have as a people and as a country. Yes, we must recognize that politics is expensive, electoral process is expensive, but when it comes to the issue of being obscene and getting to the level of recklessness and impunity, then of course it should be checked. But I can tell you that PDP is not in that league, and we never encourage that, and I didn't witness that at the convention.
Very well said. How well do you think the PDP will do in the forthcoming general elections? Because it appears that there is a lack of inclusiveness. It seems to favor the North over the South.
I mean, again, if you say there's lack of inclusiveness, well, I can't speak for another party, but I can speak for PDP. The PDP is an
PDP.
all-inclusive party.
I'm referring to the PDP
Yes, I'm
because
speaking about PDP.
I want to just give you a few examples so that you know it goes beyond Atiku Abubakar. Of course, we also have the presidential candidate, the national chairman, Iyorchia Ayu, and chairman of the Board of Trustees, Senator Walid Jibrin. So those are examples that have been cited to show that there's a lack of inclusiveness in the PDP.
Yeah, the PDP is an organic party, has processes. And in processes, it goes through sequence. Yes, today, the party has the Board of Trustees chairman from the north, the chairman of the party from the north, our presidential candidate now, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar from the north. But because PDP is an organic party, it goes through and reviews processes from time to time. I know as a fact that at the appropriate time, which is not too far from now, the PDP will respect its constitution, look at its processes, having regards to the unity of this country and the need to carry everyone along. We recognize that we're a people's democratic party. We recognize the need to bring every part of the country into governance or into party politics and party administration. The PDP is very sensitive to all these issues. In any event, we're going to an election. We know that we need to have a united front. We're coming together as a people. While people have the right to begin to have this conversation and make analysis and commentaries on this, we as a party are responsible. We know that every part of this country needs to be brought together beyond our party's consideration. It is actually more about Nigerian consideration. And we're trying to bring unity. And in doing that, this party that is organic, that has organs of it, constantly reviewing its processes, would at the due time and in due season review all these processes and all these considerations and take the appropriate actions that will guarantee the feeling of oneness in the party and of course in the nation. So there are no concerns here. Those are commentaries, those are insinuations, and people express fears where they don't even exist. I can tell you, and I can assure all Nigerians the whole world that PDP is responsive, is responsible, and we know that the principle of federal character enshrined in the Nigerian Constitution, which is reflected in our own Constitution as a party, of course will be abided with. And we will obey that and ensure that in any decision I will take, it will be a point for us to ensure that unity of the party and more importantly, unity of the country will be considered. And I can tell you, I can assure that, and there should be no concern, no surprises anywhere, and people should watch us as we progress. We have just come out from a national convention that has been adjudged one of the best in this country in terms of organization, in terms of transparency, in terms of integrity, in terms of fairness, and I think we should celebrate that. And then, of course, because our party is organic, we go from point to point and ensure that we take into consideration all the interests in our country and in our party. And of course, that will not be a challenge for us because we have what I call an internal differences resolution mechanism that allows us to take care on every issue that comes before us and ensure that all interests, having regard to the fairness, the integrity of our processes, and the fact that the unity of the country, which is more important, and of course of our party, is guaranteed.
Well, I'd like to take you up on what you have just said. You know, with Atiku coming from the north, are you also from the north, and the chairman of the Board of Trustees from the north? What exactly, I would like you to be specific now, what is the PDP going to do to redistribute power and ensure adequate representation of all regions in its top hierarchy?
Well, I just referenced that earlier, and I thank you for bringing this question up again, because it's important to say this over and over again and emphasize the fact that PDP is an organic party that is very sensitive and very responsive. Now we have this situation. The PDP, the organs of the party, the NEC, the NWC, the Governors Forum, every organ of the party will come together and review this position, because we are a party that is very responsive, and we know that when issues come like this, you go back into negotiation, you go back into discussion, because that is the whole essence about politics, about reconciliation of differences and interests. And I can assure you, and assure Nigerians, that that can never be a serious challenge to us, because we have an internal dispute resolution mechanism that is robust. And I can assure you that will not be a challenge. Every part of this country will be involved in the PDP government, unlike now, where you have all, for instance, all the security agencies from one part of the country. We are not that insensitive. We are not tribalistic. We are not into cronyism. We are not into ethnic promotion against the other. And we are conscious that no part of this country is a dot in a circle. So we are conscious of that. And you should recognize that PDP was in government for 16 years. If you go into the trajectory of all those who were in government and the distribution of position in this country, it was fairly representative of all the various tendencies in the country, and all the tribes, and all the ethnics, all the religions. We are conscious that this is a country of peoples. But we know we can come together as a rainbow coalition. That's exactly what we're doing. And we demonstrated that over the years. And we have capacity to do that, and we're more ready as ever before, particularly now that this country has been so divided along ethnic lines and religious lines. We know that it's a huge responsibility, and we have a duty. We've shown the capacity to do that in the past. We will do that again as a party, and we're ready to do that. And I know Nigerians trust PDP to do the right thing, and we shall do the right thing. It's a commitment, it's a covenant with Nigerian people, and we shall do that.
Okay then, and we do know that the ruling party, APC, has been in power for quite some time, trying to obviously unseat them in the 2023 elections. You spoke about these internal dispute resolution mechanisms that the PDP, I'm guessing, specializes in or is working on. I want you, for our viewers out there who might not be as well versed in the maybe the traits of your party flag bearer, Atiku Abubakar, does he possess these internal dispute resolution mechanisms? Is this something that he is quite good at in uniting people together?
Yeah, thank you again for bringing forth this conversation. It's very important, because politics is about reconciliation of interests. However, I didn't say dispute. I said the PDP has a robust internal differences resolution mechanism. We don't have dispute here. We have differences. And because it's not dispute, it's not crisis, we're able to resolve our issues having based on our interests and the capacity to know that, yes, the party interest and the national interest overrides every individual interest. Now, I just want to take you backward. What we have done at the NWC when we came on board. We had issues, we have differences, some deep differences at our chapters in Ekiti and Osun State. When we came in, because to tell you the capacity of this party to create such structures to resolve differences, we created a 24-member committee comprising the NWC, the Board of Trustees, the Governors Forum, and the leadership of the National Assembly, as almost a standing committee that waded into the differences in Ekiti, and we were able to resolve that. In Osun, we did the same thing. Right now, we have almost a standing committee, a reconciliation committee for Osun and Lagos states, and that's ongoing. Because we are organic, because we're a going party, because we have structures, because we have policies and programs, we have organs that are established in the Constitution, and because we respect these organs and allow them to function, we're able to do that. You recall in the last couple of days, the presidential candidate of the party had visited almost all the aspirants that contested with him. And at different levels of the party, conversations are going on, discussions are going on, knowing fully well that, yes, when things like this happen, there's a contest, there could be some concern. And we're trying to do that. That is the capacity of PDP. In governance, you remember then, when there were crises in the Niger Delta area, it took the government of PDP, headed by late President Yaradua, to create an environment where the Niger Delta crisis was resolved, because we have the capacity to resolve differences, to resolve crises. And within our party, that was robust, and we're ongoing, and you can see that happening from day to day. You can see the pictures, you can see the videos of the flag bearer of our party, His Excellency Debo Olgunagba, doing that, and that's exactly what we know how to do. And we do that at our party level, and we do it at the bigger level of the country. And that's what we're ready to take on Nigeria and to ensure that unity comes back.
Mr. Debo Olgunagba, National Publicity Secretary for PDP, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time.